What up, it's Negoitator.
And it's your boy X Factor.
Championship match, CKS versus VR. Map 1, Sacrifice Uplink. We're just going to make it a little interesting today.
Do a little color commentary on the plays here. Give you a little inside scoop on what we're thinking as we're playing the map here.
Everybody had a good time at the OG first tournament. We had a Black Ops tournament. We had a SOCOM tournament. Everything went smooth. Congrats to all the teams that participated and came out. There's sure to be a lot more heading into the future. All right, so X Factor looks like he's starting to run up. Let's see what's going on here. Give us a little call out.
All right, so basically, it looks like our initial setup was Negoitator was on the low right steps there. We had Backlash. You can see him there in front of me up on the high temple. I was kind of sitting back in our spawn, trying to make call outs. Threw that grenade in the middle there because Lash thought someone was up there trying to clear it out for him. And go back there.
We have a nice little setup over here. Snowbud and Lash up top middle. I'm a top right corner stair. You got their back on the right side, double covered, making sure no one gets through.
Basically what we're thinking here is the first round we're kind of playing it real patient, sitting back, trying to find out where they're setting up shop at.
First round is a nice little feeler round. Both teams are pretty nervous coming into the championship match. Everybody's got the same mindset, wanting to win, bring it home for the teams, clans. We're doing pretty well right now. Start out, we got a couple men up. I got that first kill off the start, but then Dom traded with his. So.
Yeah, anytime you can make a trade, you can kill yourself and then get the guy with you. It's always it's a plus. I'm just trying to look in the obvious spots here in the beginning of the map, trying to see if they're posted up in the corners like we are on the opposite side of the map.
Now being on offense and getting pretty top heavy, but I think we're trying to get that first comm point right there, aren't we? Yeah, there goes Lash grabbing it.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Snowbud moved up to the middle there, so I moved up on his flank trying to, give him some cover.
Yeah, it's a good rotation right there on the shots, You had his back. He came back around, and he was covered for sure.
And that's the thing. I think me and Snowbud were communicating there that there was a guy set up on the other side of that wall, so we tossed the grenades. I throw down the PM mine there, just to cover our backside in case I leave Snowbud. That way there's some kind of protection for Snowbud on his left.
I mean, that's another great play because the mine does do a lot more work, watching each other's backs, and it may take up a slot instead of grenades, but in this game the water balloons just don't do it all the time,
Yeah, I seen that guy there behind the rock. I called it out to Lash who advanced forward there, but he happened to pop out just in time for me to shoot him a few times before Lash got up there.
Snowbug gets taken down with the nade, but I think they're down to 2 guys now. Yep, there comes the scoreboard.
Yeah, here comes the last kill here. This guy came up on the right. I take a few shots at him here, I think, and then Backlash comes up and finishes him off from behind me here. I weaken him right here a little bit.
It's a great start to the game. The tempo's good. The call-outs are there. Everybody works. And though we didn't have like a main strategy set in place, I think everybody felt comfortable from playing together with each other through the season, knew where they would go best and where they could help out a lot.
Exactly. Everyone just kind of, we set up shop and we just kind of went back to the same spots. This round you'll see pretty much the same setup here. We kind of just, held our spot until we thought we had a numbers advantage where we can move forward a little bit. There I go, weakening that guy in the middle.
Everybody's still playing pretty cautious. No need to rush out and die. There are always a few early nades, though. Trying to feel each other out once again.
I'm just setting up another PM mine since I'm up here by myself, watching this left side. Trying to get an angle between this door here into their spawn. It's a tough shot here. Trying to get rid of that crosshair there. As you see, we got someone on the proxy chat there, calling him out there in the middle.
Looks like you got to catch him right there. She's tied up 1-1 right here. Hop on board. Hopefully soon. Looks like backlash. Sitting back. We're on defense, so I mean everybody's in the right set of mind. Play the objective.
Yeah, this is the thing where you're just going to sit here and be patient, you know, at this point of the game. You're going to just wait for them to make their moves and try and, you know, just take your opportunities as they come here.
I mean, SOCOM definitely does have its slow points, but in a match like this and when the championship's on the line, you know, you wouldn't want to screw up anything.
Yeah, it's more, you know, you take it down to the very end. You know, sometimes you have to play this as a, you know, as a suppression as opposed to the objectives every once in a while. Depending on the numbers and the situation, you gotta just kind of sit back and get the kills first. There goes Jordan with a nice shot there from the right side, and Dom finishes him off with a claymore there at the end there, PM mine. It's always nice to get one of those PM mine kills after you're already dead. And this time, I think at the beginning of the round, I move up to help Snowbud here on the top temple. Try and set up the perimeter up top so they can't really push too far in on us.
I mean, once again, we're on offense, so we're taking positioning, you know, that they can definitely be productive. I know call-outs are going to be coming top, middle, and whatnot, so hopefully you don't get caught right here. And we do go man down early. Is that 1 or 2?
That's it. I'm calling this guy out from what I remember. There's a guy in front of me there on the other side. I think Backlash throws a grenade on him here. Proxy chat, I got someone near me, so I'm probably making a call out. Probably hear him down in the water underneath there. You see Dom talking too, so most likely he's underneath us at this point.
Once again, a precautionary PM in mine, but definitely necessary.
Yeah. I mean, and in hindsight, that may be a little too close to me, but I've been, at this point, I've been kind of running away every time a grenade comes, so I think I'm alright with it right there, looking back at it.
And what's the mindset right now when you're up on offense, you are men down, but you got 2 rounds under your belt?
Well, that's the main thing. I mean, you got the 2 rounds under your belt, so you got a little bit of a cushion to play with. I mean, you don't really want to rush out there and just, you know, go, you know, balls to the wall with no real mindset here. You want to just play patiently. And like you said, we got 3 minutes here, so our mindset's just to kind of watch them for movement, call that movement out, and try and get an angle on them. Have someone else move around, flank them or something.
So we got Dom moved up, Backlash coming underneath.
Yeah.
Snowbud might be bottom left. No, he's top.
Snowbud's right there, right with me. At this point, we seen this guy in the middle here. We caught him out. Snowbud couldn't get the kill there, but I believe Dom comes on the back side of him and takes him out.
Now the numbers are starting to get slimmed down. When it gets to more of this 1-on-1, 1-on-3, you know, what are you looking for? Are you playing the objection still or suppression?
Well, I mean, right now, you know, with 2 minutes left, if you're going to play the objective, you got to kind of start pushing here. I mean, it looks like your mindset's just to kind of sit back here, right? And I mean, you're the one. calling the shots here since it's just you with the last guy left here.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, I had that one last nade. I wanted to chuck it. I knew there were some bodies around me, but I don't think I could find any of the grenades that I needed to keep clearing stuff out. Time was getting a little tight, but I didn't really have a good play on the right side. I think I do move left side. My mindset now is to get low, get off the top, get out of their fucking view, and come through the spawn maybe.
Yeah, I mean, it would look like they're a little right side heavy. It looks like they got at least two guys on that right at this point, and yeah, you're probably right with your best bet moving down to the left away from that heavy fire on the right.
And all three of these guys at CKS have it live. 2-2, 1-2, 2-2. I mean, they definitely can get their kills. I know what type of game they're playing with the objective, and I know it's on me to make the moves. So with 1 minute left, I'm kind of getting in a panic mode. I'm going to try and do what I can because I know they're bunkered down watching that control point.
Well, and that's the thing. You got to give your hats off to CKS here. I mean, they played the patient game just as much as we did. They didn't show any desperation here. They even though they were down, they still played the map the right way and made you come to them on the offensive. So,
with 35 seconds too, I'm realizing I'm not going to be able to grab both. I luckily hear the proxy chat right here. Start making my way to clear out their spawn. Run up on one of them, but I definitely heard that they were not going to move on my activity. They were going to let me, run the time, have the clock against my back. So tried to do what I could, seeing if the other guy he was talking to was around him, but I think this one pulls out no luck and ends in a draw.
Alright, so this is the fourth round here. And as you can see, it's still a close game here, 2-1. So, now we're focusing on getting this round. We're on defense here, so we're just focused on getting the W. That way we can stay up with that little cushion that we have there.
Now we're back on defense, but if I remember right, yeah, I get naded at the start. This is the round that they like to push. Definitely wasn't expecting it. It was kind of just sitting how we have been passively trading shots, and then they start pushing in on us. But I think we handled it fairly well.
Yeah, they came right side heavy. I think I'd try and drop down here and get out of the right side. I'll drop down here right and start to head to their spawn here, I believe, from what I remember. Try and play from the opposite side.
I mean, that's what you got to do when the cards aren't on your side and you've got about as Lash would say, a cunt hair of health left. You got to play the objective and play to the best of your ability and do what you can for the team. And if that means putting shots from behind where they're not going to expect it and you not draw fire, it's probably the best bet.
Alright, I think at this point it's just it's me and Dom left from what I remember. Dom's in the spawn here. And me and him are talking. And I think he's calling a guy out in his spawn by the doorway. So I'm just trying to get a different angle to see if I can help Dom out and take this guy out that's on his doorstep here. It's kind of tough to see through the brush and the trees.
Yeah, and I see you keep moving to a different vantage point, seeing if you can finally get that angle. And it was great call-outs by Dom. He had him there sitting for a while. Now, what do you think CKS's mindset is here? He knows he's 2 versus 1, and he's got Dom coming up in his proxy chat on the other side of a wall.
Well, that's what. Yeah, I think he's focused on Dom right here, which it shows you he gets to kill there. So I go to pop off a few shots as he runs back through and kind of weaken him a little bit. At this point, he's got 3 minutes left, so he's got plenty of time for the objective still. But with me hitting him those few times, I think he's got to slow it down now and kind of figure out where those bullets came from. So it was a good thing I hit him there, just to kind of throw him off for an extra, 30 seconds or whatever it was. I'm going to head back here to their spawn and just kind of, knowing there's 2:30 left here on the clock, knowing he's got to get two intels back. It's really going to be a tight squeeze for him. So I'm just going to sit back here in their spawn and kind of camp out, hoping he runs into me here.
And I mean, that would be anybody's thought. You got 2 minutes. It's 1 versus 1. But of course, you don't want to spend all your time searching around in the bushes, so maybe grab one, and he might meet you back at the base still with about a minute and a half left.
Yeah, I did a little pre-planning here. I dropped one of my PM mines there in the bushes, kind of to give me like a second man type of approach there. If he blows it up, I'll know he's there. If he runs into it, then I'll get the kill. So it kind of multi-purpose PM mine there. And I'll just sit here and camp and for the minute and 40, try and just hope I get a drop on him if he comes through this door here. Listening to my headsets for any kind of noises or anything like that.
With it getting down to under a minute 30 now, he's not sure where you are. I mean, lo and behold, you'd be on the other side of the map opposite of where the easiest place for you to camp be. But he's also got to grab 2 points. Is he starting to get into a panic mode?
I would think at this point, if it was me playing on the offensive, that I would be like, okay, let me grab, as he's doing right now, let me grab an intel, head back to my spawn, and see if I can find him on my way back here. Yeah, I would think he would be switching now from intel to a suppression type of mode now. I mean, because clearly with 45 seconds, he's not going to get both the intels back. So, you're thinking his mindset's changing a little bit. So you're watching out for grenades. You don't want to get hit by a random grenade here.
And how helpful is having like a headset in this situation?
Yeah, I got the Triton 720s, and the sound in SOCOM isn't like it is in other games, but it does definitely come in as a advantage, being able to detect I mean, anything's better than a Bluetooth in my opinion, and just being able to detect the direction of sound and footsteps like that is a huge advantage to someone who doesn't have that, headset.
And you finish out holding off the objective right here, and I mean, we're up 3-1 now.
Yeah.
That
was a pretty big round there for us to get a little cushion.
It was, and especially on the defenses, you always want to make sure you're pulling out the defensive side. The attacking ones are the plus, the ones you upload the data that you try and get on the counters.
Yeah, you always want to win your defensive because basically, as long as your perimeter's sound, they have to come to you, and there's no real urgency on the defensive side.
It looks like Backlash gets an early nade down low in the water. Snowbuds up top again. We got the normal setup. You're taking some fire.
Yeah, they're in the bushes up there on the right. I tried calling it out. I couldn't really locate them. I think I pop out here one more time to try and see if I can find where that gunfire is coming from.
I'd say that top right is definitely a high traffic area. With them having the uplinks up there, they definitely got plenty of walls and brush to hold it down on.
And you can tell, though, our setup is pretty much the same now as it is from the first round. We look a little right side heavy this round. We got Snowbud in front of me, Negotiator low right, and Backlash and Jordan. That was because the previous round they kind of rushed that right side when they were on the offensive. So I think we kind of set up that way a little bit more this round.
Now, what's your mindset going with the M16 here on the silence?
Well, I mean, from where I'm standing here, it's a long shot across the map. So I got the silenced M16 there, and it's a pretty strong gun, and it's got the distance. And from where I was setting up, I was just trying to weaken people. I wasn't really trying to kill people from there. My main thought process was just to make callouts and weaken people for the guys up in the middle. As I moved up, though, you can see I switched to the PDW. Anytime I get in the close range, I switch to this gun. I mean, this gun's just a pure beast in this game.
Yeah, as I've told many, many people, the SMG rules even mid-range to short-range fires. Long-range can easily be handled off by one of the assault rifles, but the short-range game is definitely dominated by this gun here.
I agree, and this is one of the things we noticed as a clan pretty early on in SOCOM, that the SMGs were really a huge advantage in any kind of gun battle outside of a long distance range.
And right here, we seem to be trading kills a little back and forth. It's getting down to about 2.5, 225, and everybody's starting to kick it into that second gear. Are
Yeah.
we are we getting kind of panicked?
Well, I think right now at this point we had two. I committed suicide here after I got shot and fell off the top, and I think we lost you right there. We lost two people back to back. So at this point, it's kind of in you know, it's not really a panic mode, but it's like, okay, let's even up the numbers here. And as you can tell, Backlash and Jordan get some kills there and make the numbers a little bit more, favorable for us.
And still, respectively, the CKS being up 3-2, we definitely have the capability right here with Lash, as you can see, evening it up at 2-2. And Jordan and Lash, I mean, being the last ones alive, just this round, it speaks largely of them. They were going huge that game.
Yeah, and as you can tell, I just want to point out on CKS's part, they pretty much had the same strategy we did, but they were just because they were down rounds, I think their hand was forced a little bit more than what they would have normally played. But that's what happens when you win that first round. That all-important first round really dictates, whether we're going to have to be more aggressive or, we could be, defensive in what we're doing.
And yeah, that third round or so, when they realized they wanted to go back to their comfort zone, it showed when they rushed us, and we dropped pretty early.
And at this point, CKS trying to kind of did a different change of strategy here. You could tell they have more PM mines and claymores down now. They using that second man, if you want to call it, extra killer.
That's 1v1. Jordan's realizing he's got 30 seconds. This isn't his first war. I think he understands what he needs to do here.
Yeah, he gets in this. This is a nice gunfight here. They're trading shots here. I believe Jordan switched to his submachine gun there while the other CKS guy was reloaded.
Yeah, that's another great thing that we've perfected. I mean, it really goes to show you understand the game. You're playing at a higher technical level when you're going to switch guns naturally versus just hitting the square button and reloading what you got out.
And as you can see, Dom's been in that left corner that whole time. This guy comes up on Snowbud here. I tried calling it out, but he doesn't turn in time, but I wind up killing him anyway. It looks like we got 3 kills there to their 1, so I think we're ahead in numbers here.
And that's a great feeling when you're on defense. I know. Just you play with a little bit more ease, and it's gonna come. You just got to stay that much sharper.
Yeah, I'm down in the bottom here, a little out of my element this round. I wind up taking a 1-for-1 there. The guy gets me with the knife, and I wind up killing him. That probably wasn't the best play on my part to go out of my what I've been doing for the map, but it worked out to take someone with me there.
And once again, it's coming down to that 1-versus-1 scenario. And I would say most of our players were feeling comfortable with their gun that night.
Yeah, and this is another thing I want to point out here. If you notice all these rounds, they're all down to 1v1s or 2v1s. So CKS here really played a good game where every round was crucial, and it wasn't like there wasn't no blowaway rounds. Every round was really fighting for your win here.
It very easily could have gone either way in a lot of them.
And at this point, Dom's sitting in this bush with about 320 left, and his mindset here is pretty much let them get an intel point. If they run in front of him, he'll kill him. At this point, he's just kind of camping. He sees that guy there, and you notice he stays patient and just waits.
Yeah, we got a nice little glimpse of him up there in our spawn tombs, and I mean Dom's got the perfect placement for if the guy has to grab one of the datas and run back by him. Lunchbox really wanting you to come play, not realizing we're in the championship.
Yeah, that's what happens when you got noobs in your clan.
You gotta show him. He probably didn't realize how good you really were. You play these type of maps.
Yeah, he probably didn't realize I was picked for the actual championship match there. He probably didn't think I made the team. And yeah, so Dom's being really, really patient here. He knows that guy's in our spawn, but there's no real reason for him to move.
And do rounds like this change the pace of the game, like the momentum wise? You stop someone's streak, or if they've been rushing, it goes into a longer, drawn out mode where those other guns are just sitting there.
Yeah, it can definitely change the pace of a game. I mean, if the CKS team wins this round here, then they're right back in the game here. Dom's headed back to their spawn, similar to what I did earlier in the game, trying to just waste the time and hope that the guy doesn't make it back to the spawn looking for him. So he wasted about 2 minutes there camping in that bush, and he figured it was, after he made those pop shots, he figured it was time to move back a little bit and make the guy search for him a little bit.
Now, if you were down with a minute left and you hadn't seen either data point being grabbed, would you be more nervous or confident?
Well, at this point, I would think the guy's definitely looking for me. You know what I mean? Like, if the time's not on the other team's side, that you're gonna definitely think that the guy's playing a suppression. And Dom did a good thing here. He went into a corner where he has a view of both the entry points to the area he's at, so it's not like he can be snuck up on from behind.
And so you got to play to that, kind of handicap, because you do have less health than you, and you always go in thinking that maybe your opponent has a full bar of health, and that might make the difference.
Oh, sure, of course. I mean, that you always got to take your own health into consideration, and that plays into how you're going to play out your round.
I mean, going into a game like this, unless you're at full health, I wouldn't, even if go into a 1v1 just letting him play the waiting game on you.
All right.
Now, 5-1, you easily have a couple more rounds and it's over. But is there still that sense of it could slip away?
Oh, that's what I was just going to say. Definitely. I mean, 5v1 in a championship match, you know that the other team's capable of mounting a comeback. Just because it's a 5v1 doesn't mean our call-outs or our strategy changes. We're not going to rush into their spawn and try and just take out the other team. We're going to our strategy is to play the same way we've been playing. That's wait for them to move, get numbers, and go from there, really.
Right here, you're set up again. You got the proxy chat. Now, can you tell? Is it top, middle, or is it below you? Or are you just trying to watch both?
I can see right there that the grenades are coming from. It looks like their side of the spawn here. They're where I'm at on the opposite side. So I'm calling this out. I'm telling them there's a guy up in the middle here. But I'm not. Just because I know he's there, I'm not moving out to him.
And even though we're on offense, I know we do have that sense of pace. We want to keep it at our game and make sure we're making our best moves and making sure they screw up first.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, you want to capitalize on any mistakes. That's in anything the other team does. You know what I mean? If you see a guy running out there and you gotta, it's all about the angles. You see him running out there, right here. I see this guy laying there, but I'm not sure what I'm looking at. I'd like to have that shot back.
The waiting game until he moves.
Yeah.
And then here, you've only got a smidgen of health left, surviving a few shots. And I mean, what are you thinking?
Well, as you see there, we're outnumbered in this round. So at this point, I'm just trying to make call-outs to yourself, and I think it's Backlash is alive with me, and we're just trying to regroup here and get numbers. I mean, any kind of movement we see, we're trying to see if they're coming up behind us or As you see, I take a further back defensive approach here. I think I'm going to put a claymore down next to me here on my left to watch my back. But it's definitely a defensive mindset for me right now. Yeah, here goes that PM mine right here in the bushes.
It definitely helps, so I'd have to say I was one of the ones that left alive with you and Lash. And, I mean, from us just playing it every day in-game, it's like we've seen these scenarios before, though not everybody's clan versus clan. It's still, you get that sense of, oh, we've done the 3 versus 5. Just don't ever lose that natural comfort zone.
Yeah, no, exactly. I mean, with we're not saying that CKS, doesn't have experienced gunners, but, I'm speaking from our side, me, you, and Lash in this situation have been through this, scenario a few times here. So, we're keeping the lines of communication open. You go down on the left there, so I know the guys on the right side here. Backlash takes out a guy in their spawn, and I'm going to try and get a different vantage point to help him out here. Backlash is in pretty deep here with 3 guys left on their side, so I'm just really trying to back him up here, try and get up in there and help him out a little bit.
And CKS was definitely dominating early in the rounds, and luckily on our part, our players could make those extra efforts and really pull them out if we were down 2 versus 3.
Oh yeah, just adapting your gameplay. That's the thing. I mean, CKS, they had us on the ropes a few rounds, and as you can see just by when I hit the select button, we were down. They were up 4 guys to 2, and we just managed to have the hot guns that night. I mean, really, it could have went any way. I believe we lose this round though. I hear a guy in proxy chat here from what I remember, and I know he's up in that top right corner where he's been, and I'm going to try and get a little stealthy here and climb up this hill here in a second. And
I think I remember this.
Yeah, it's not a good ending here. They I knew they were up there waiting for me. I was just trying to get a sense of direction.
Right here, you kind of get pushed into the bush, but you do finally make that move when you're realizing the time's getting low. We're on offense, but the move you pull, is that something you've seen Lash do? Or
No, it's not really. I mean, I was just, yeah, he was there waiting for me. Now, in that situation, I mean, I know all 3 of their guys are in their spawn, and I really don't want to make any noise on their headsets, so I was just trying to peek around the corner there, and he was just waiting for me. I mean, it was just a good play on their part. They had the right setup at the doorway.
And see, that's also the catch-22 there. I think you still did have your mine left, but without having that extra slot of grenades, you couldn't throw anything up there to clear that out.
Exactly. That's yeah. It's a catch-22. It's always late in the rounds. It's nice to save those grenades, for those exact situations just like that. I see this guy run up behind me here and come up and shoot him. But I think at this point we're up in this round, I think.
Yeah, about 3 players up right now.
Yeah, and they made if you notice the data was just stolen, they made a pretty hard rush, which actually worked out to their advantage here. They they got that 1 data with 4 minutes left. I mean, that's plenty of time to secure the other data, and as you can see on my mini map up there, we got Jordan up in their spawn already, and I'm making my way there, trying to protect that that point where they retrieve the data at. So that's our mindset, to get to that other point here and make sure they don't get it.
Of course. I mean, they just ran back and secured the data, so we're moving up, kind of get them a perimeter around their spawn almost, and clamping in on them.
Yeah. So this guy does a double back around here, and he shoots me in the back as I jumps down the top of the wall, shoots me, but Jordan's right there on my back.
Meanwhile, I'm trading, so it leaves the last guy right there.
It looks like you were the only one to die that round, Negotiator.
Yeah, I mean, that's great play on our part. When you finish a round and you've only got 1 person to die, everybody's doing everything right that they need to. I definitely know in these last 2 rounds for me, though, I kind of slacked during the 4, 5, and 6 rounds, but came back for this one and the last one, wanted to put it away and make sure it didn't slip out of our hands.
Yeah, I believe there was some talk in the dead box there about your Matty Ice skills. We were wondering what was going on with you at 7 and 6 at the point. We were not typical negotiator numbers, and he managed to turn that around the last couple of rounds. But yeah, I mean, and that just goes to show that everyone doesn't need to always be on top of their game the whole game. Other people pick up the slack, and we work through communication.
And there was plenty of rounds that we all were doing the exact amount. We were all getting the kills we needed to, and there was no one really stepping up, but the whole team was on point. Now you have still just about a quarter of health, and you get caught right here.
Yeah, they had that guy in the right side bush, and I seen the other guy slide over to the left. I figured I'd take some shots at him once again, just trying to wound him a little bit, not really kill him. But yeah, that guy caught me off to the side there.
And yeah, CKS definitely playing to their advantage right here, because every time they're on defense, they're getting us on the ropes, man down, time and time again. Finally, I do take a different approach this round, it looks like.
I was going to say, it looks like you changed up your strategy a little bit on that. Was there any specific reason why you did that, just to try and get your gun going, or was it just, instinct?
I mean, the second round I did end up, staying the last alive, and last time it worked. Left side went up and did get in their base and grabbed a data point, so I figured left side was where I needed to push at. I didn't feel too comfortable going out the middle. That right side was definitely getting opened up a lot. And still, with 2:30 left, I mean, even though we're man down, we're on offense, we're still playing at our pace here, and we finally do catch some breaks. It looks like I catch one.
I think this is the start of a little quad kill here for you. I think you kill him, come around behind him. They're not really looking at their backs, and you catch a couple guys in the bushes here. Which, I mean, in hindsight, it's a good positioning by them, but since you came up from behind them, you really weakened that left side for them. If you would have came in heads on, head in there, you probably would have not had the success you did that round.
I mean, that just goes to show as well, we find that one place that we break through and then we capitalize, and I mean, the whole team has been doing that all night, and that's how we were pulling these rounds out. So, I mean, right here, me and Dom are making the call outs. We figured the last guy who's been staying alive the previous rounds is going to be top right still. I see a mine right there, so I take the high route. And I know Dom was moving around. He was going to flank and give me some more support over there. I was calling out the mine. I was pretty sure I was. Keep making sure this guy isn't on the move, and Dom comes in. It's the one. So now it's
looks like a crash test dummy there.
It's down to 1v1, and I'm seeing if I can draw this guy. I think he might be in the bush from when he killed you when you were laying down. I see the mine in the data, and I blow that up, and he does try and take some shots at me. Little gunfire right here. I'm at about half health. I can't remember if he hits me or not, but basically the mindset is I don't want him to drop off the right side and either come up on me or, run back to their spawn too and play the objective. So I know I got to move with 30 seconds and just go out and get it done right there.
Yeah, at this point it's kind of like that was kind of like a mind game. It's trying to figure out what his strategy is.
And I'm sure he had the exact same mindset. It was kind of a cat and mouse game, but I'm sure he was thinking the same thing. He's going to come up from below and around me. He's going to throw a nade. He's about to rush me. And I don't know if he was ready for it or the angle sometime of your camera, the third person, it gets off. And I might have just snuck in when he was looking back or something. And, and then I drop down and pop back up.
Yeah, but all in all, that first map really could have went either way. The score says 7-2, but if you going back looking at it, each round came down to one or two people left, and it was an intense, hard-fought war there.